Do you remember the first day that you got that call about a Brandon?
Yes. Margaret, our caseworker, she wasn't even coming to give me a child. She was bringing me paperwork because I had signed something wrong. I doubt it, but she was bringing me paperwork to sign, and she was sitting in our driveway, and she came up to the house and said, "Hey, I have a little 3-month-old boy for you guys. Do you want him?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And she said, "Do you need to tell Steven?" I said, "No, it'll be fine. It'll be a good surprise."
That's right. And it was such a good surprise. I remember I was at work and Meg called me and just said, "Hey, we've got a little boy coming." And I was telling all my coworkers, and man, we swung into action and we started getting ready. It was a great surprise.
Yes, Life Church OKC was so amazing. Our house was full of diapers, clothes, everything imaginable you could think of we had in our living room.
We were actually kind of embarrassed about it because when they brought him, it was only supposed to be for a few days,
right?
Like max. He wasn't supposed to be here for very long. And we kept telling him, "Oh my word, you guys brought us enough diapers to last
couple years."
Yeah,
actually, I'm still using the wipes. It's been a year, so. But yeah, and I remember when his caseworker brought him and gave him to us, he looked up and smiled at us, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I hope he's here longer than 2 days," because I mean, we just fell in love with him so fast, and he was so much fun, but
within moments, really.
Yeah.
I think we could have told our caseworker, "We want to adopt this little boy," within moments of him arriving at our door, because he smiled at us.
I think you did tell her.
I'm fine.
But now, here we are, a year and 2 months later, we are officially adopting him, and we are so excited, but it was not an easy road.
That's true. In fact, it took one miracle after another for it to happen. And I just remember telling our attorney, this is what we would love to see happen so that we can adopt this little boy. And she said, "That is a sun stand still miracle that you're asking for."
Yeah.
And I remember saying, "It has stood still before."
And I asked one of the caseworkers that was in another case. She had nothing to do with this one, but I asked her, "How many people
need to change?
Do I need to get through to adopt this little boy?" And she said probably 6 to 7 people. And so I told her, "Okay, I'm going to start praying because God can change these people's hearts. They can change their mind." And so we just started pouring God with prayers. And
we pounded heaven.
Yeah. And our friends did, and our family. And it's just been so amazing to watch God move in this. I feel like for the first time in my life, I actually saw God move in a biblical way for me, like the Bible coming alive for me. Because you always hear about the stories in the Bible and you just wish it could happen to you. And it was happening to me every day. Like, I would ask God for stuff, and since he couldn't really talk to me and come down and tell me, "Megan, just relax. This is my game plan. Just calm down. I'm doing this perfect planning." But every day I would open my YouVersion and he would just give me a verse just to calm my heart and just know that he was still with me, and I just needed to trust him and that I needed to quit worrying about it. I was just so thankful that every day I was able to, basically God talked to me every day and just gave me exactly what I needed to hear, just to calm me down and just know that he was there and he was fighting this battle with us, and even going a step ahead and just setting things up that I didn't even know were happening.
Right.
And then he would be right there to show me, "Hey, I'm still here." Another great reminder of God moving in this situation was when Life Church came out with the song "You Are." And boy, that song was so powerful to me especially, every time they sang it in church, like hands up, tears coming.
Fully surrendered.
Yes, just, another way of God telling me, hey, I'm here, and even in the waiting, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be with you. And that song, every time I felt like I can't do this anymore. Like, it's not going to work out. We're going to lose him. I remember getting ready for the day with just that song blaring in the bathroom. And then at night going to bed when I just felt like, come on, God, you can do this. Like, help us. And I just remember just playing it over and over and over again and just reminding myself, like,
you are good.
You are good. You are good. Even in the waiting, you are good.
We're just going to keep waiting on you to work your perfect plan.
Still you are near me, and you're never failing. Jesus, you are. Yeah. Oh, even in the unknown, I know that you are good. Even in the waiting, you are good, you are good, Jesus, you are. Yeah.
So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will never fail you nor abandon you.
Right.
And just knowing that he's never going to leave me, and he's in this for the long haul.
There were so many days that I would come home and you would just open the YouVersion and just share with me powerful verses that God had given you for that day that I believe kept your worry in check. Because we talked about it over and over again as a couple during the time when you realize that you're facing a situation where this child that you have fallen in love with, you're getting close to a year in to loving a kid just as much as we love any of our biological kids or our daughter we adopted before him. The love was just the same. And to think that you're going to have to hand this child off to somebody else and allow them to raise them was almost more than we could bear, but we knew that it was sin to worry about it.
Yeah.
And God kept our hearts in check with so many verses.
My heart told me to come to you, Lord, so I am coming to ask you for help. And boy, did we ask him for lots and lots of help.
I remember when we were setting up his nursery, and we had him in our room for quite a while after we first got him. And it was time for him to have his own nursery, so we went shopping to buy everything to put his nursery together. And we went into that shopping trip with a very heavy heart because you were putting together a nursery for someone that you didn't even know if they were going to be there the next day.
Right. Yeah, every day you just never knew, like, are you going to get the call? Are you going to get the call? Please, God, don't let us get the call. And it was hard to set up a nursery, and even, like, at night, putting him to bed. Like, you just wanted to hold him and hold him and hold him and not let him go to bed by himself because you just never knew, is this going to be the last night I get to feed him? Is this going to be the last night I get to hold him?
In fact, I even remember telling her, you never had any of our kids with us this much. Like, they were in their own room so a lot. Why are we doing this? Like, he's going to never want to be in his own room. And she was like, I'm doing this because I just don't know if I'll even have him tomorrow.
Right.
And it's different.
Right. And another verse that I just love about crying out to God is get up throughout the night and cry for help. Let your sorrow pour out before the Lord like water. Lift up your hands in prayer to him. And I did it all the time. Lots of tears, lots of hands up, worshiping him, because it was not easy imagining your kid going to live with someone else, and I just couldn't imagine being without him. So
I think a moment of surrender for me was on that shopping trip for the nursery, and I knew, like, I have to do something to fix my heart. And I found a picture that is still hanging in his nursery now, and it just said, "Thy will be done." And I told Meg, I want to hang this in his nursery, and we did. We hung it right beside his bed. And for me, it was something I needed to see every time I walked in the nursery, to see him, to change his diaper, to get him a bottle, all of the wonderful things you get to do as a dad and a mom. I needed to visually see those words in front of me of, God, we've given, this kid belongs to you. We never should have had him. It was a miracle that he came to be at our home anyway in the first place. And we're surrendering him back to you at every moment. It is your will that we want. We don't want him as our child if you don't want him to be. So that was a great time of surrender for me.
And I guess I should have known right from the moment he came into our home. I guess I should have known that God was gonna do something amazing for us, because God kept giving me this name, and I kind of shook it off because I was like, I don't know, but God kept putting it in my head, and I should have known right then, if God was gonna give me a name, it was gonna be good.
Yeah.
But it was just so hard to just trust God at that moment. And so, I mean, the further it got, it was harder, because all the things that happened.
Well, because the state of Oklahoma really wanted him to be with all his siblings. And now we know he has siblings all over the place. But it was against the state of Oklahoma's wishes for us to adopt him.
Yeah. So they were fighting pretty hard against us. And, but God just kept giving me this name, Evan. And so I knew, like, this is what we're going to name him. If we get him, we're going to...
I even remember saying, why Evan? Like, why do you want that name? And she said, God told me to name him Evan. And honestly, it was maybe 2-3 weeks ago now. I was in my daily time with God, and I was to the point in the scripture of John the Baptist. And so I'm reading all about John the Baptist, and I'm just highlighting all of these things that I felt like God was giving me for my son, for Evan. And I couldn't understand why, but then God really helped me to understand it, because as I'm finishing my scripture time, God says to me, go look up the meaning of Evan. And I told him, I already know what it is. Like, Megan has already told me that it means Yahweh is gracious, or God is gracious. And we believe you, God. You've been so gracious. Like, you've worked one miracle after another, and he's going to be our son. We've already started calling him Evan. We believe you. Thank you so much for your graciousness. And he just reiterated back to me again, no, go look up what Evan means. And so I went and Googled it. And as soon as it popped up, it said that Evan is a derivative of the ancient Hebrew name John. And I just started crying right then and there, because I knew, okay, God, you are going to do something amazing with this kid. We have no idea what you are laying out in front of him and what you're allowing us to be a part of. We don't have any idea.
So now that we've adopted him and it's done, I look back and I just think, holy crap, I can't believe I made it through all this, and I'm still smiling. But
that's one of the things that blew me away in watching you, Meg. Just being able to see God come alive in your life through this. Like, we never would have experienced what we've experienced in our home, in our family, in our marriage, without God sending Evan, and without the waiting.
Yeah.
We needed the waiting.
Yeah, God definitely changed me this year, and I look back now and I'm just so thankful for it. Like it was so amazing.
I remember when we finally got we went to the courthouse, and we're sitting there for that family meeting, and they said, no, it's done. Like, you are getting your son. And we walked back out to the car, having watched every single barrier that we had prayed for fall. And you sat there in the car and you said, what an awful year. And then you quickly changed your mind.
Right. And I was thinking, but it wasn't awful, because I became so unbelievably close to God and felt Him, and I've never felt Him like that before. And like, how unbelievable that I got to see mountains move.
Yes.
Right here, like in 2018, like mountains still moving and
we needed
miracles happening.
We needed the waiting.
Yeah, I'm thankful that we got Him for one. I'm glad it's over, but I'm just so thankful that God showed off. He showed off huge, and other people got to see it happen.
Yep.
Like,
He got glory from this story.
All around us got to see how amazing He was.
Because the story doesn't end here.
Right.
And we know that. Now we know that God did this for a very specific purpose. And we didn't just gain a son, but God placed Evan specifically in his timeline where he is supposed to be for something incredible that He's going to use him for.
Yeah.
So
and it's going to be so awesome to see what He has, and hopefully, no pressure, but yikes.
No pressure, kid.
We gotta make sure we do it right.
Yes, we do.
Because we're gonna turn this kid into a fully devoted follower of Christ.
And that's all that matters.
That's right.
That's all that matters. Welcome to our family, Evan Kingston. We love you.